People think that entrepreneurship is all about the business.
That's not true. Absolutely not true. Once you know yourself, who you are, what do you want, what you already know within yourself, you will definitely be successful. That I guarantee you.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of Personal Development for Entrepreneurs. I'm Ikram here with my good friend and mentor, Dr. Venga, our speaker for the day. And today we've got a very interesting topic. It's what is happiness and why do we need it? Good evening, Dr. Venga.
Good evening, Ikram. Good evening. Good evening.
So, to me, the world may think of you, or many people around you may think of you as a time management expert, a self-management expert. For me, you are a happiness expert as well, because after meeting you, I've been a lot more happier in my life. I think the many things that you've taught me has led me to a much happier situation, right? So you can see it's interconnected, managing yourself, managing your time, and happiness. Perhaps we can start tonight with, what is happiness really to you?
Okay, this very good you start there, because one thing is important, Ikram. Happiness is not outside somewhere in the Mercedes Benz or the Ferrari car or the mansion. No, it's not out there. Happiness is inside you. No matter who you are, what you have, happiness is inside you. If your inside is not happy, you will never be happy. I have met people, I'm sure you have met a lot of people with a lot of money, multi-billionaires, and you find that they are not happy. Or they pretend to be happy, but inside they're not happy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, this is exactly what I see. Unless you recognize that happiness is inside, not outside, then it is easy to solve. It's not difficult to solve. But because we want another 1,000, another million, that you can't buy happiness. Okay, so primarily, the first thing to recognize is, what is happiness? The happiness is, first of all, emotional. It's very emotional, very physical, and it is a state of the mind. When I say the mind, the English word for mind is pointing to the brain, but I'm using a terminology which is understood by the Indians much better than anybody else, at least some of the Indians at least, that the mind is the whole body, everything in it. Let me just give you a quick example. Let's take an animal, any animal in this living world, from a tiny little ant to a huge elephant. Okay? Are they happy or not?
It's a good question. Are animals capable of happiness?
You better believe it.
Mm-hmm.
But they have only one issue. Where is the next meal? Once stomach is full, an animal will either rest, reproduce, and become a good elephant, or a good ant, or a good worm. Stomach full, everything's okay. They're quite happy. They don't complain. But human is the issue. We don't call an animal a being. We call human being. Human come from soil. Okay? We come the human. Once stomach is full, they have millions of problems. Why? Because as a human, you always want to expand. Because you want to expand, you're looking for something. You're looking for something. You are never, ever satisfied. So the first thing is understand that happiness is you, inside you. Now you need to study this about yourself. You have to literally study it. For me, it's like that, no? What is it that that'll make you happy? You must sit down and define your happiness. Remember this, of the 8 billion human beings, every single one have a different definition of happiness. You agree or not?
Yes.
So your happiness may not be my happiness, and my happiness may not be your happiness. Correct or not?
Correct.
Okay, so we have this issue. So the problem is that since we do not know what happiness is, we are looking for things, and we don't even know what we are looking for. That's why people have difficulty writing out simple things like, hey, what do I want to achieve this month? What do I want to achieve this year? What do I want to be? Be human. We are the only one. Become something, you know. We can become something. It's inside us. So we don't even know what we want. So happiness, first of all, must be defined by the individual. Don't tell me, Ikram, that the job that you are doing, as an example, that will bring you happiness. No, it'll bring you income. You go and service a customer. You do a good job, you get paid. You don't do a good job, you get told off. And then you have to scramble to make it happen. The job gives you money, but happiness, you can't buy it with it. But you must study yourself. This is the first thing that I learned. Study yourself. What is happiness? If you tell me that you always look at me, I'm like this. Have I changed from the time I knew you up to now? I'm always like that, right?
Yes.
Am I happy or not?
Yes.
No matter what happened in my life, okay, from death to dealing with issues, I'm always happy. Because as far as my happiness are concerned, it's very simple rule I have with myself. Okay, I know what I want. I can define what is happiness. For me, what makes me happy. You might say, if I listen to music that makes me relax and I am quite happy momentarily, but not in long term. You can't put on your music, classical music or Bharatanatyam or music, and the whole day, you know, dance around and be happy. You cannot. It's momentarily. But to have every single day from 6 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night being happy is something that always inside you must be happy. Once the inside of you is happy, you will be happy. So immediately, you know, Ikram, what should you do? Well, first of all, understand your own self. How do I understand my own self? Ask yourself, what makes you happy? Sit down and write it down. Without the writing it down, you will not be able, Ikram, you will not be able to define what is happiness. And those people who are listening to us must understand this. Only you can define. First of all, sit down and write down, hey, what is happiness? If I'm with as an example, if I'm with my wife, am I happy or not? Ikram?
Yep.
Am I happy or not?
Yes, I think you are.
Well, the same question everybody should ask themselves. Hey, if I'm with my spouse, am I happy or not? But you can't even put your fingers across, you know, the famous song, hey, Sarah, Sarah, whatever will be, shall be.
Yep.
Won't work, because then you don't know what you want. That's why if you want to have, as an example, okay, I want to have a delightful, enjoyable evening with my wife and my children. You got to plan for it. You got to think about it. You got to work hard on it. Plan for it. Think ahead so that then it'll happen. You can't just walk in and, hey, let's have a party. No way can happen. So no one takes the trouble to plan themselves, sit down and study themselves. Why am I unhappy? Why am I happy? If you can do that, you will have a better life. I did that very young. So that every day is always a happy day for me. I'm already 83 years old. Even today, I'm happy. You know, I've been through surgery. My son passed away. All sorts of, things happened to me in my life. Have I sat down with my, why this has happened to me? Oh, do I sit down and cry to you and talk to you about all the nonsense? I don't. Because why? I have one small part of life. You also have a small part of life. Life is so big. I take a small part, you take a small part. If 51% of my time I'm happy, that is success. Not 52%, 51%. You understand? 49%, things can go wrong. I got to adjust it because I'm dealing with other people. With me, I'm 100% happy all the time. Sitting down, talking to Ikram, sitting down, talking to other people, I'm happy. That happiness, because I know what I want. I literally write it down. What is the happiness that I wanted ever since the age of 21?
So there's no single definition of happiness. What you're saying is that everyone has to define happiness for themselves.
That's right. If you don't do that, Ikram, then it's only an illusion. Everything else is a story. Let me give you another example. Say you go to a restaurant, okay? Do you tip the waiter after the meal or before the meal?
After.
You see? That means I see how you perform. Then either I tip you or don't tip you, right? I always do the opposite. I tip the person first. I see a nice fella. He comes in, hey, here's $5 for you. Okay. Can you look after us? How do you think he will perform?
Better, much better.
Isn't it? Such a simple thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do we do that? Judgmental. If I go to a restaurant, I'll sit in a place and I see the person, immediately the first thing I do is tip. Sometimes $10, sometimes $20. And you know what my wife tells me? All the time she tells me, I know, they will look after you. Also you too, right? Yes. Okay. Don't you want to be happy? Yes. Correct. They will look after you. You put up your hand, 4 fellows will be standing there. See? But you want to tip after the service, you forget it. Human. This is why, that's why happiness is inside you. If you're not happy inside, let me ask you this question. Come. On a day that you feel happy, don't you want to do more?
Yes.
Why?
It's an interesting question. I'm not sure. I mean, I think maybe it's because you feel more motivated.
Why? That means emotionally you're very happy. It's inside you, right? Physically, because emotionally you're happy. Physically also you're very good already. Very good. and your state of your mind is the champion. Always looking at things in a very positive way. I'm telling you, Ikram, this is a fact, okay? We don't know what the world is going to be for the next 5 to 10 years. We don't even know what will happen in between now and another 10 years. That's why this subject of happiness is very important. If you are not happy and you're miserable all the time, this life will become a misery for you. Do you want that?
No.
You don't want that. That's why, Ikram, people think I do this work, they will reward me. No, no, no. You don't even know what you want. You want to work for somebody and give them what they want. What a joke, lah. If you don't even know what happiness is all about, you want to work as a CEO of a company, this, that, the other, and working for, say, 1 million ringgit paycheck and all that, huh? Will that make you happy? No, momentary, not for long.
Can I ask you a question, Mega? So you're saying that happiness is within, it's internal, right? It's not materialistic. It's about defining it for yourself and understanding what makes you happy and looking at internally. But would you agree that a basic level of material needs need to be met for someone to be happy? I mean, is it possible for someone to be happy when he's homeless, he's thinking about where his next meal is going to come from? Is that possible, or does your basic human needs need to be met, material needs need to be met before you can start thinking about happiness?
Okay, see here, I ask you this question. If I gave you a tent and say from now, I have a tent, okay, reasonable comfort, and you stay in the beach all the time, will you be happy?
No.
Why not?
I would prefer a home, a house, a fixed structure.
You put the house as happiness. You put the structure as happiness. To me, I don't care where I live. Do I have the basic essential thing? That will come, no? First of all, if I'm happy inside, it'll come. Then I do not buy 25 chairs, no? Or sofa that is crowded in the room, is so crowded. Your bed and all sorts of things. You buy a lot of stuff which you never use. You know this is a fact, Ikram. 90% of what you have in your house, you use it only once in a while. Only 20% of the things that you have at your home is something that you use, okay? From time to time, not always, sometime only. And we are seeking for more and more and more of things we don't even know what that is. Then we put a label, car, chair. So you call it basic. Actually, Ikram, in my lifetime, I have met people who live on the street in the United States. I spent about a week talking to them one-on-one. And you know what? They are quite happy. Right now, I'm told there are 5 million Americans who have no home. I'm not saying all the 5 will be happy. Majority of them chose that life. They want that. That's why, Ikram, it is better to live on a tent on the beach with maybe your loved one and be very happy than to have a mansion and you live in it alone. Bill Gates. You understand what I'm saying or not? The happiness is, do you need a chair? Do you need a table? Do you need a light? It'll come now. But first, satisfy this, because this life, Ikram, always is seeking and seeking and seeking. It is seeking one thing only, is looking for happiness. But you don't even know what happiness is. You think if you have $1 million, you have a table, a chair, a television, and car, and a home, you'll be happy. Will you be? No lah.
But it's interesting. So what you're saying is, you know, your material well-being actually comes after you are happy. So even if you don't have shelter, you don't know where your next meal is coming from, first fix yourself, be happy internally,
That's right.
then the rest follows, right? So
Yes.
if you're looking inward and making sure your happiness is making sure you're happy,
Yes.
then your material world also starts to adjust accordingly.
Correct. Because Ikram, I'm telling you what I discovered myself. Then of course, Ikram, psychologists, that's why the man called Swami Rama wrote this book called Perennial Psychology of Bhagavad Gita. The perennial psychology of Bhagavad Gita. And if you understand about Gita, if you read the story and all that, that is where happiness is. Exactly, okay, because it's a state of the mind. You feel joyful. You feel satisfaction. Now, let me relate that to your own daughter, Ira. The moment she comes to you, isn't she a very happy person from the day she was born till today?
Yes.
Wait till she grew up to about 12 or 14 years old. Then she got tons of complaints, isn't it? Correct or not?
Yes, yes.
As a child, they are so happy, so free, because why? All they need is food. They are quite happy. We, at our age, should be much more happier than the child, because we have everything. But no, we are not. We want more of things that we actually, Ikram, that's why they created this damn heaven. They sold a story for 2,000 years about heaven. Ikram, the next world is better than this world. Happiness is there. When after I die, I will get completely soaked with whatever burn, ashes comes out of it. So what do I do in heaven, lah?
Very good question.
We don't even realize heaven is here on earth now. We do not enjoy it. Correct or not, Ikram?
Yep.
So yes, Ikram, actually, basic, simple thing. What is happiness? If you sit down and study yourself, study what is happiness, your happiness. If your happiness is very short, then that is not happiness. That is joyful, fun. But long-term happiness is seriously you. Once you realize that, then Ikram, you remember I always told you, to action alone, you have the right, but not to its fruits, remember? You've asked me, what, Benga? How you plant a tree, mango tree, all that, you put water, you put this soil, this and they grow, and then you say the fruit is not yours. Of course it's not yours. The planting you want to do, the watering you want to do, the care you take to do that, you're happily doing it. When the mango is ready, it'll bear fruits, and many people come and steal the mango away. Your job is to look after the plant. Your job is not to go and grow the mango, right?
Yep.
See, this is what human don't understand. People always seeking, going out there, looking for it. Okay? But they don't realize, they don't define their own happiness. If all the listeners that are listening to us just sit down, take a piece of paper and write down what is happiness to them. Not short term, long term. That's why, Ikram, people go to drugs, people go to alcohol. Because why? Short-term fun, long-term issue, problem. Correct or not?
Correct, yeah.
So the world is catering for the short fun, but not for the long term. So yes, Ikram, if I have nothing else better to do, I will buy a tent and go and sit in the beach and sleep there. So why not? But why not? As long as I'm happy, it's okay.
Yep.
It's when I'm not happy, then I want to cut more tree, I want to do this, I want to do that. When is it going to be enough? When? After you die?
It's never enough, isn't it?
That's it, you see. That's what is wrong with us human. We don't even know what we want. We want everything. This is the problem. An animal is not like that. Hey, stomach full, no issue. Okay? Human, stomach full, million problem. So we actually are creating the problem ourselves, not happiness. Look deep inside you. The moment of happiness for you when you hug your daughter and she starts talking to you. Short-term happiness, right? Now you want to have, if you want to have a good evening with your wife and daughter, don't you think you should plan for it? Don't you got to put some thought, what shall we do and all the rest of it, right?
Yes. Yep.
So planning for what happiness you want has to be done. No, you hope it will happen. Can't, no? As simple as that, no? Ridiculously simple. What do you want?
So happiness is not a passive feeling. It's something you actively plan for and you work towards it, right?
Yes, it is an active process. Study happiness. What is happiness to you? You know, you can see my wife, my sister-in-law in my house. Okay. There are periods in which that things are not right. But majority of the time, they are all happy. My wife is happy. My sister, even though my sister-in-law is going through a hell of a series of medical issues and all the rest of it, yet I can say that day after day after day, she's getting better and better and happier and happier. Every single day, if a human beings get up and say, I'm happy today, I will be happy today, I will make today happy day for me. Don't worry about everybody else. Yourself. That's the only thing. See, happiness is an emotional state. That we must understand. It is not while emotionally affects the physical part of you, it also affects the way you think. But if you're happy, then you see things in a better way, a different way. But human beings do not know this. They only look for negative news. All the social media, are they telling you somebody got enlightened today? Do they tell you that?
No.
They tell you how many people got killed. What was the accident? The newspaper is like that. The magazines are like, everything bad is being broadcasted. Am I correct or not? If something happened in Chile at the at the bottom of the Chile, something happened, we in Kuala Lumpur will know it tomorrow morning, right? No, we know it now, instant. Correct or not? And that makes us happy. There was an earthquake. 2,422 people died. But they never mention, hey, four people sitting in India, in a city of Bangalore, 4 of them got enlightened today. Do they report that or not?
No.
So we thrive on negative news. But therefore, it's very important that you must define within yourself, what is my happiness? If you don't define it, you will never be happy. So what do you require? You require to understand that you need to actually know what you're thinking and then allocate some time. This is where time comes, because time is free. What? You can't buy time. It's your time. So you take the time and put into the time, hey, this is what I want to do. Okay. And then do it. Okay. And then you start reviewing. Hey, I was happy this evening with my daughter, with my wife, and we enjoyed a meal together. We had a very good conversation. And I slept well. You review how to improve it better. How to do it differently better. Correct or not?
Yep, that's right.
As you can see from your daughter point of view, she comes to you in the morning, hug you, oh, daddy, okay. Is she happy or not?
Yes.
But daddy happy or not?
Most of the time, yes.
That's very good. You see, Ikram, we all came from that too, no? I have never grown out of being a child yet, no? So if you say I'm happy all the time, yes, I am. I define that happiness. And I'm prepared to put effort. I put a lot of effort for happiness. I do, Ikram. And that's what we all should do. If we don't do that, life will just go by and then end up in a cemetery. And then after we are being buried or burned or whatever it is, I don't know how you go up there and do what? The body is already gone. Correct or not? And you know, I mean, people are searching, but they don't know it's in front. You remember I told you the story about acres of diamonds some time ago? It's a long story, how the acres of diamond is at the backyard of yourself. Happiness is inside you, not outside. Acres of diamond. Remember I told you that story?
Yes.
That's one of the way which made me think, if the acre of diamond is at the back of it's inside me. Why am I going out and look for it? No need. So anything external, I am always, it's like that. So you ask me many times, hey, you are around the world, you have gone, blah, 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 blah. Do you sightseeing? I never do that. I just go there, do some work, that's finished, done. I've been to the city, yes. Is there any difference between the people there and here? Same old grumbling, same old thing, isn't it? Human. Be human. Become a human. We have a brain and we have a structure which is so sophisticated. We don't know how to manage this. Is that correct enough?
Absolutely. Benga, we have a few more minutes. Let me just sum up first what you've said so far. I mean, in two points, you've made it very clear that happiness has to be defined. There is no one definition to happiness. So one needs to really, really understand. And when you say write, I think you mean, going into, it's not a 5-minute process where you sit down and write, right? It's a long process where you really, really go deep into what is it that makes me tick. And I think one of the things you've told me before is you must constantly ask why. So you can start off with why is happiness, what is happiness to you? And, it may mean I have a big house and a family. And then the question should be why? Why does a big house and family make you happy? And as you go deeper into that, you come to the core of what really makes you happy. So the first thing is to define. And the second really important point you've made is that happiness is not a passive, it's not something you passively think about. It's an active process. You have to be planning and working towards it, taking action towards becoming that happy person. Is there anything else you want to add on to wrap up tonight's program?
Okay. One thing is important. Time is free. You have a limited time. Within this limited time, find out how and what is it and why is it you want something. Why? Find out. Nobody can help you. No psychologist, psychiatrist, the expert putting machine on, no need, cannot. You must know what makes you happy. If you do not know that, go find it, study yourself. When I do this, am I happy? When I do that, I'm not happy. Why? The answer is inside you. Happiness is something that all humans must have, because you live this life only one time. And that time is what you have. Okay, Ikram.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Dr. Venga. So there you have it. What is happiness? It is supposed to be defined by you. You need to ask yourself, what is happiness? Write it down, go deep, and you will get the answer. What happiness means to you. That concludes our episode today. Our next episode of Personal Development for Entrepreneurs is happening on October 5th. As usual, it's the first Wednesday of the month at 8 p.m. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Thank you, Dr. Venga.
Thank you very much, Ikram.